At as a global integration and as a global integration and regional integration continue to strengthen, especially in the latter, the economic dependence among countries in the region is increasing, and the crisis will force spread among countries with high economic dependence. The occurrence of currency crisis in a country will give certain market signals, change investors' confidence in the currencies of countries with high economic dependence or similar economic characteristics, and increase the possibility of currency crisis in these countries, and even lead to the occurrence of completely self-fulfilling crisis. And economists believe that there is market manipulation in the financial markets, whether in the self-actualization crisis caused by the rational expectation or the crisis caused by the irrational hurdle herding behavior. It is possible for big speculators to manipulate the market to make profits, and the big speculators use the herd behavior to make hot money surge, accelerate the outbreak of the crisis, and aggravate the depth and harm of the crisis. Generally, the second generation crisis theory pays attention to self-realization nature of the crisis. And the theory is that it is not enough to just rely on sound domestic economic policy against the currency crisis. The contingent deficiency or contingent deficiency make it vulnerable to speculative attack. And that choose a fixed exchange rate system. If the fixed exchange rate system is chosen, it should be combined with a capital control or limitation of capital market transactions. And the third generation crisis theory is formed after the East Asian financial crisis in 1997. That broke out in the second half of the 1997 that attracts attention of academic circles. Kempsey argues that this is not by its nature a new crisis, and the original theoretical results are still persuasive. However, some scholars, such as Krugman, believe that the crisis is significantly different from previous currency crises in the breadth and depth of the contagion, transfer the international balance of payments, etc., and the original monetary theory has insufficient planetary power. So a breakthrough should be made. Hence, the third generation comes up. And Krugman believes that the currency crisis to economy of miles away at contact each other very few may have an impact. So multiple equilibria may exist. Some economic, for some economic sensitivity of the public confidence is high. And therefore they much external association with other economic monetary crises in the public confidence problem brought by the trigger. The main reason for the current account reversal in the East Asia economies is a large decrease in the imports caused by the sharp currency depreciation and the severe economic recessions in the crisis. Therefore, there exists a transfer problem, which is ignored by the previous currency crisis series. And therefore, there exists a transfer problem, which is ignored by the previous currency crisis series. In this previous currency system, the constructors of the model focused on the investors' behavior rather than the actual economy. And the assumption of single commodity ignores the impact of trade and real exchange rate changes. Thus, the central point of the monetary model should be to discuss the need for the current account reversals caused by the actual devaluation or recession and the corresponding reversals in the capital flow. The key to the currency crisis, and in his view, it lies in not with the bank but with companies. And the oh, but with the companies because the weaker currency, higher interest rate, and the falling sales have worsened the corporate balance sheet and finance, not the banks themselves. Even a bank restructuring would not help firms whose financial condition has deteriorated dramatically. Under the assumption of single commodity, Krugman established an open, small country economic model. That model is increase the incomplete substitution of domestic commodities for imported commodities and analyze the impact and the effect of the trade and real exchange rate changes. And in general, Krugman emphasized the following aspects in their third generation crisis series. They are in the financial access. That is defined as the mainly aimed at the financial intermediaries, each defined as the transform of moral ventures of the financial intermediaries to financial assets excessively accumulation such as securities and real estate when they have free access to the international financial markets. And if the when they can't access the international markets, the excess investment demand doesn't lead to the massive overinvestment, but to higher market interest rates. And the excessive accumulation of real assets um, and the and this make the aggravate the vulnerability of a country's financial system. When the external conditions are right, they will lead to a bursting of the bubble and the crisis in the international economics. And Second is the existence of the kinship politics that has increased the degree of financial excessive excess. That has the financial situation of these countries that has the East Asian financial crisis is healthy on the surface. It appears to be healthy, but in fact, it has a large number of hidden deficits, such as the im- implicit government guarantees for the banks and companies linked to the politicians that increase the likelihood of ethical risk taking by the financial intermediaries and the companies worth, whose toxic or bad assets reflect the government's implicit financial deficits. The decades-long kinship politics of these East Asian countries put their economies at risk of financial collapse from the massive external borrowing um, they undertook in the 1990s based on the possibility of the devaluation of their quasi fixed exchange rate. And third is the outbreak of the crisis is similar to the East Asia financial crisis lies in the enterprises. That means due to the weak sales or higher interest rate and the devaluation of the local currency, the balance sheet of the enterprises has financial difficulties, which limits the investment behavior of the enterprises. The financial difficulties in the balance sheet of the enterprise also include the impact of changes in the real exchange rate caused by the capital inflows in the previous period. This analysis from the perspective of the balance sheet discuss the impact of currency depreciation on the enterprises and the entire real economy. In fact, investors may have included the expectation of such change in their behavior functions before the crisis, which threatened their deter determination to sell their currencies, which is also a self-fulfilling phenomenon. And the Krugman's theoretic model shows the fourth one is Krugman's theoretic model show that there are three equilibriums. The intermediate equilibrium is unstable and can be ignored, and the low and high equilibrium in which the domestic rate of return is equal to the foreign rate of return. And on the low level balance, the lenders don't believe the domestic enterprise have any guarantee, doesn't provide the loans to them. It means that the real exchange rate will be devalued, and the negative impact of the real exchange rate seems that's the bankrupt of the enterprise, which in practice of the previous pessimisms made a case in the point from the vicious circle as a result, and the financial system collapse in the crisis is due to the previous investors' uh, behavior of investment behavior of the error, but due to the fragility of the financial system, the potential collapse of the financial systems is caused by a high debt factor and a low marginal propensity to import and a large foreign currency liability relative to the exports.